And then you have Duval, and they try to prop up Duval, but Duval has always been a poor school. The best thing you could say that the educational advances that have taken place in the county and other places have not hit Duval. They just don't have what they need to have in terms of a dynamic principal or this or that. In fact, they have a principal now that's written up in the paper. At one time, they said he was going to be great, but I think he's gone. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. But Duval doesn't cut it. And when you talk about cutting schools and you cut into Roosevelt on one side and Bowie on the other to fill up Duval, that could be a real crisis.
I'm going to add a little bit of heat to this. You know, you have some very large, big buck developments along the 450 193 corridor, Fairview and others down there. And you know, the feedback we get constantly is the people that have bought those very expensive homes were all told that their children were going to go to Bowie schools. And now they find themselves somewhere else. And there's a little bit of hostility that goes there. And so, you know, I think we at this table all understand the school board is going to make substantive decisions that are going to go through a political filter. You're right. I don't know that I'd want to be on the school board when I go to a community and say, I'm closing your elementary school. It's got to be done at some point, but, you know, nobody here wants it.
That's for sure. Oh, God. Well,
it's a tough job being on the school board. They meet pretty much just as often as the county council and get paid 1/5 of the pay. So it's a real tough job.
Well, the county council, they ought to put a compensation committee together and watch their pay, because they get paid an enormous amount of money for, I think, less than really great work. Less than great work, not even good work.
Manny, you're as subtle as a sledgehammer.
I know. I really have, even though I'm giving this council a little more time to put it together, the other council was just absolutely pathetic. And now I'm looking at this new one, hoping again. But so far, on the compensation end, that they all voted for a pay raise and so on and so forth. And I think there's people there that are focused on the wrong thing, their own checkbook instead of the children of the county. The children are the ones that, when you have the individual interest, someone's looking at themselves, they're the ones that suffer. They suffer and suffer throughout the whole thing.
Before we started, Len was talking about, we were talking about the upcoming realignment of the county council positions, and I had forgotten until he reminded me that, you know, you have 9 county council seats and 9 school board seats, but there's no commonality between the two systems, which strikes me as incredibly inefficient and incredibly counterproductive, and no way to bring a community together around schools and around government operations and things like that. So I know they're going to be doing the redistricting for the county council. Maybe the president of the Chamber of Commerce can exercise enough influence to convince the people at Marlboro that they ought to align those two systems together.
Yeah, there's 2 different groups established, and they're going in 2 different directions.
Sure. You ought to give the question then to the citizens of Bowie as a trivia question with an incentive to get it right. Is who is your school board member? Can you name your school board member? And I would say 9 out of 10 couldn't.
Probably right.
And the other, with the districts being split so many different ways, no one's going to know what their district is, political district, or the school board district. What is it? You know, and who is it? And that's going to be trouble.
We are lucky that I have as our school board representative the chair of the school board for the past, an unprecedented, I think, 3 or 4 years, because she does have, exerts more control over what happens as the chair, and so she's been good to Bowie. And of course, to our audience, her name is Regina Jacobs. And
yeah, I'm clearly a Regina Jacobs fan. She has done a lot to help Bowie during her term of office. She's been a positive voice for us and for the county, and she's been one that you can call and get a response from, and she will call you back and say, okay, well, what are the issues and what do you think? And she's also proactive. I mean, I've had calls from her say, these are the things we're thinking about. What do you think?
She is like the ace of time management. She works, does the school board chair, takes at least 2 or 3 days a week. She works full time in a high level job at the Prince George's Department of Corrections. She's taught college courses at University of Maryland. She's a gospel singer in the weekends, and in a few weeks she's going to be a first-time mother. So
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
she is really excels at time management.
Now, that is time management.
Anything new on the gubernatorial activities, or do we still have the same players? Any new, and I'm talking now about on the Democratic side, any new players that we don't know about, or the people we talked about, have they indicated they may or may not come in, get closer?
I think they're all saying, at least informally, that they're going to run. Doug Gansler, the Attorney General, Anthony Brown, Lieutenant Governor, Peter Franchot, the Comptroller, and Ken Ullman, the County Executive from Howard County. What's happened since then, though, is now people are starting to talk about themselves as an Attorney General or a Comptroller,
Right.
the next level. And so that's what's happened, I think, the past several weeks.
What do you think now, especially about
The
your
comptroller.
boss?
Recently, Kumar Barve, the majority
sure.
leader of the House, indicated he would be interested in running for comptroller, provided the present comptroller runs for another job.
For governor?
Delegate Brian Feldman, also from Montgomery County, has indicated an interest, and he was interested the last time. Did he not run in the primary? I don't recall.
Right, he denied, but he talked about running against
talked
Franchot
about
in the
it.
primary.
And he is a practicing tax attorney, so has,
Some
in his mind, a lot of
background, yeah.
good experience relevant to the position. Kumar is very popular and very politically savvy, and
CFO of a company, and 2 more good candidates too. Have you heard
and who
Delegate
would they?
Galen Claggett from Frederick County, who's a
No,
a
doesn't surprise
developer,
me.
and from Prince George's County, State Senator Jim Rosapep, who's been a fiscal expert
that's
in the
right.
Maryland General
That's right.
Assembly.
Oh, I hadn't
I had
heard
it
of
many
that.
years.
I had
Jim Roosevelt, the former ambassador to Romania.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I can see the link between Romania and the comptroller's office.
Oh, Romania and Prince George's County, it's a little shaky, little shaky. So that continues to build. What about Ruppersberger?
Well, he's got to get through the
Congressman.
2012 election first, but I think he's wanted to be governor ever since 2002 when he was asked to step aside for Kathleen Townsend.
Okay.
And he's found out that being a Republican in Congress is not as fun as being a Democrat in Congress. So I think after that you might see him getting more into it. And I do think if he gets into the race, he becomes the instant front runner just because of the Baltimore media market. Although you can make an argument for each one of them as being the front runner. I mean, Anthony Brown has 40% of the votes African American in the primary. Doug Gansler has $3 million in the bank. Peter Franchot has made great relationships with local officials all over the state.
Right.
Yeah.
Ken Ullman was president of Maryland Association of Counties. So I mean, you can make a good argument why any one of them could be.
Could,
I think
could
there's gonna be
make it
some-
statewide.
Yeah.
And it would be great if 2 of them would pair up, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's likely.
I
to
think you
happen.
got 4 or 5 people there that all see themselves as governor.
Not
none of
lieutenant
them
None
see
of them see themselves
as
as lieutenant governor. Yeah, that's it.
so, of course, Anthony Brown will be trying to break that hex to be potentially the first lieutenant governor
That's
to
right.
succeed
Ever elected.
somebody.
Yeah.
Ever.
Have we ever figured out then what happens to O'Malley, who is a leading Democrat, and I think one of the leading Democrats in the nation? He goes bye-bye as governor. Is there any place for him? We've talked about in the Obama administration, the next one after 2012. Where does O'Malley go if they don't pick him up as a secretary of something or other?
The White House, 2016.
Exactly.
Ooh, is that right?
I saw him on the Morning Joe show on MSNBC. He was terrific. I mean, a lot of his speeches have been kind of highfalutin and the unity of mass and nature. This one was bing, bang, boom. He was really, really
He hit
good.
it. Oh, I think he's good, and I think he's nationally recognized as an outstanding Democrat. So
Yeah,
I could see
I think
him.
he clearly has national ambitions. The challenge with people like O'Malley, he's all his experience, the predominant part of his experience has been on an executive level, as opposed to a state or national legislative thing. I think Mikulski's up for what in 214?
16. Also.
16. So I mean, there's always that possibility he might try to move into a U.S. Senate seat or something like that. But
I don't think that's what
I
he
just don't
wants.
see that happening. But you're right. He's a good guy, and I think he could find himself a home in at a high-level cabinet position in the meantime.
So he certainly wouldn't take on Cardin, and
Oh, I don't.
Mikulski
I
would
don't. I
have
don't.
to.
No. The only way he would do
Mikulski
that
would
is
have
if
to go
Mikulski
bye-bye.
opted to.
Yeah,
Retire.
he'd have
To retire.
Sure.
But beyond that, I just don't see in the state configuration where he goes. Because, like you were saying earlier, being in the minority in the House is not an attractive thing for anybody. Being in the minority in the Senate's a little better, but it's hard to see where he goes.
And when we name all those people, and you look at it, and they're in a lineup. There's no one that comes out that you mention the name, and they would be head of the. They would be the leader of the pack. It just except maybe Gansler.
I think he's right.
With
Ruppersberger jumps pretty close to the
$3
front,
million
and don't write out Ken Ullman. I mean, Ken's done a lot of good things in Howard County. And he's got a lot of friends across the state, and of course, you can't ever rule out the lieutenant governor. I mean, he's got a good job, good resume. He's
from
good
Greater
speaker.
Bowie.
Yeah, he's from Greater
Can
Bowie.
he
He was the
raise money?
speaker at whatever the president's name is, the Chamber of Commerce president.
President Leonard
Lieutenant Governor was
Lucci.
here to speak on his behalf.
Do you have problems with him being president? You
No,
only
I
being a
like to
mayor.
hang around with presidents.
It's good for your image.
Yeah, just
Okay.
keep-
And don't rule out my boss.
and don't rule out. I mean,
comptroller.
you got.
Does the
so-
comptroller
Fred-
have money or the ability to raise
oh,
money?
gosh,
Yes.
He
yes.
raised a lot of money before.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Can he raise the money that he needs?
but you know what
I think
you'll
he's in
notice about
fundraising
Francho?
mode as we speak.
Yeah.
And you could even deduct from your tax return. I would
Yes.
deduct
Give
$2 to go to
10%.
Peter Franco.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing that you have to pay attention to with Francho is, he'll pop up in Howard County, he'll pop up
That's
in
right.
Worcester County, he'll pop up in Wicomico County. He's been to Prince George's a lot.
Well,
so
He
he
gets
gets
around the
around a
state.
lot.
He does.
And
And
he's
everybody
very well
knows-
He follows
received.
up on the relationships and he nurtures
Yes,
those
he does.
relationships.
Exactly.
Gansler was here for the parade,
Mm-hmm.
and Gansler was really patting backs and shaking everybody's hand.
Well, Gansler's
He's
a
a
good
very
guy.
charismatic
Yes.
guy.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
he
was
is.
really working
Yeah.
on it. I think we've going to have to wrap it up, and it gets more interesting each day about the gubernatorial side. It's somewhat like the Republicans are going for the presidency on their side. Their line, Newt Gingrich, I think, lost some of his
Lost his finance guy
financial
today.
people. 3 of them took a walk. So Newt is not doing well, and then you got.
I
Some
watched
of the
that
other
debate.
people.
I saw Snow White, but I only saw 6 dwarfs. Sleepy must have stayed home that night. I guess he announced today. So
Again,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right. Huntsman. He announced at Statue of Liberty.
right.
I think he was trying to do the Reagan redo.
Good.
He may be a lot of things, but
That's
he's not
it,
gonna be
ladies
Reagan.
and gentlemen. Good night, and I'm glad you watched Talk of the Town, and we'll be back very soon with you again. So have a good coming up weekend, and I hope the weather is great at Ocean City.